Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Friendship Fridays with your favorite bestie, Giovanni G. Okay, make sure that you put your comments, chats, ask questions, like, share, and subscribe. It is free. Make sure you do that now. So, we are going to get into our next series, which is the Need to Know series, right? So, the Need to Know series is series two. We've finished up the Get Ready series season two, which is simply about all the things that you need to know behind the scenes to get you ready, intel, or things you just need to know that may come down the pike for you. So, tonight's episode is rehabs and assisted living and nursing homes. Okay. So, this is going to be all the behind the scenes that you need to know that's going to help you be ready for when it goes left. Okay. So you finally got to the stage where you need a assisted living, rehab, or nursing home, and for your loved one, and you may don't know where to start. And the facility, how do you know if it's good? How do you know the staff will do right by your loved one? How do you know that they will be passionate about their jobs and give adequate care? These are all the questions that may run through your mind, and many more when you're in a crisis and you're searching for the perfect place or the right placement for your loved one. Granted, Google will help you. They will be your saving grace. I know, at least for me. And they will give you information that you need, but they won't tell you everything, right? So they will tell you about the violations. Google, it is Google University. They will tell you about the violations and injuries of patients. You can find the ratings on Medicare or Medicaid.gov under the tab, comparison and compare tab. But the most important thing you have to do in all of it is make sure you read the reviews. Okay. I'm going to say it again for the people in the back. Please, please, please read the reviews on Google and Yelp. They will give you the true accounts for someone who loved one was placed there. And you could kind of really get a general idea from other people's experiences. Okay. And everyone's experience will be different. But if it's a lot of red flags on those reviews, you need to take those warnings to heart. Okay. The medical community is a big community, but it's small. A lot of the nursing staff, they normally change facilities and they know each other. A lot of people know each other because they normally work within the same facilities. And I suggest, just doing this process of 1 year's time, befriend these people. Have the more bees with honey approach. And they let them tell you the behind the scenes of these facilities, and they will be able to give you guidance. Me being who I am, my love language is gift giving, so I gave small gifts, just some custom mugs with candy inside, to different nurses and nursing staff that was taking care of my mom. In that, one of the nurses steered me to the place she ended up at, which was Addison Place at Johns Creek. Um, and she steered me from a facility that I was going for that had 18 to 1, 18 patients to one nurse, right? That's a little insane. So just by me being nice to the staff, they was able to give me insight on where I should place my mother next. And although this place was a little bit more pricier, in the call buttons for the nursing, because that's important. How long is the pain, the call button, that the call light, the call button, how long does it take for the nurse to answer or some staff to answer? That's a big deal. You don't know it's a big deal until you're in it, right? And so a facility that my mother was at, it took us one time, it took like 15, 20 minutes for someone to come, which was, that's a long time if something's going wrong, right? And so that is very important in things that you need to know and look at. And that all goes to the ratio, because if it's too many patients to one nurse, ideally that nurse can't get to everyone. Some of the medical staff can't get to everyone, and it may have some kinks and hiccups along the way. And so I suggest get you some geriatric nurses friends, some CNA friends, some medical assistant friends, people that's in your area, whether you met them at church, whether you met them, become a part of a group or whatever, because you don't want to make some drastic choices while you're in the crisis. You want to have these things pretty much set up and helping you to go along the way you need to go. So I would suggest make sure you befriend these type of people and have them in your village and your community way before things go left, right? Just so you can navigate a little bit better. Because when you're in crisis, you're kind of panicking and you're missteps. You're making missteps and you're just trying to put them somewhere, not thoroughly doing your research that can possibly help make sure that the transition from one place to the next is a smooth one. Okay. If you look around, right, in your area, wherever you are, if you look around, they are building these facilities left and right. This is big business. We have a rapidly growing aging population, and so this is a business that won't be going out of business anytime soon. You see all these rehab homes and nursing homes popping up. Personal care homes. People are getting into business to do veterans homes and personal care homes because it is big business, right? And in 2023, there were 280 leading inpatient rehab facilities in the United States. Okay. As of February 2024, there are more than 16,700 active skilled nursing homes, right? That's a lot. And nearly 2,000 corporations running those homes. So that shows within itself that that's big business. It is now to the point in the United States that there are more skilled nursing home facilities than there are hospitals. And so that's why a lot of the time the hospitals, the social worker at the hospitals feed the nursing homes, feed the rehabs. And the salespeople are going to befriend these social workers and they're going to send them lunch or send them this or send them that. And then they feed, it's like an ever flowing pipeline of money. So that's why if you notice when you go to the hospital, they're trying to discharge you out to a bed, discharge you out to the rehab as quickly as possible, the turnover rate, so they can keep getting money and push them on to the next phase, right? And so you have to be mindful way before crises happened. Something that I wish I would have done was look around. I saw these things being built, but I just didn't pay them any mind because it didn't apply to me. Actually look, go to the community meetings in your community before they build these places. Research the company, see about them, what they stand for, what their principles are, and all of those things. So that way, when it goes left, because it's going to go left, with our aging population, it's a high possibility that it's going to go left. You want to make sure that you have a rational choice because you've already done the legwork way before anything happened, opposed to doing the legwork under the pressure of trying to find something yesterday, right? And the websites to the facility ratings on Medicare.gov under your Find and Compare, as well as on Medicaid.gov, they have a CMS 5-star rating. When a facility has a 5-star rating, it means much above average quality. It doesn't mean top notch. It means much above, right? And a facility with a 1-star are considered to have a quality much below average. But even with these ratings, it doesn't address everything that is lacking within that facility. The rating at my mom's subacute rehab, she was there for 3 months, was a 5-star rating. My cousin helped me find this place because her mother had a stroke. She knew all the ins and outs about the Medicare system and how to find places that accept Medicare and etc. And so she helped me pick 5-star places. I picked a place that was close to me so I can be able to get to her in a hurry and etc. I narrowed it down by mileage and the cleanliness and all of that. But the place actually wasn't a 5-star, right? So it was brand new, it was beautiful, and aesthetically wise, it was amazing. All the reviews talked about the physical therapy services, physical therapy, speech and occupational therapy. That's all they talked about. And I didn't understand why that's all you saw in the reviews. But I was just like, okay. And then a couple of reviews was talking about the quality of care. And I was like, well, they said it's top-notch therapy. So that's probably just some people that's being picky. No, absolutely not. It wasn't people being picky. I should have took that to heed. Granted, my mother had got really good therapy services from them. She learned how to engage her legs again. They did different electrode technologies with her to try to stimulate the arm and the right side of her body. But the other side of that was the care was not the best in some instances, right? With my mother's situation, yes, this place passed inspections and got the 5 star, and it was brand new and it was beautiful, but it did not address the nighttime staff shortages. It didn't address how long the call light would be on. It did not address the how the staff treated the patients. In the beginning of my mother's stroke, she needed help feeding herself. She couldn't feed herself. And it was times where they wouldn't come feed her. But I was able to pop up at different times, so I was able to see this. But it just made me think about those people who had to work and they couldn't leave their jobs, or they didn't have the situation to where they can be there for their parent, because it was just like, well, what if I didn't come up here? My mom wouldn't have ate. So those type of things. And don't get me wrong, this particular facility, through this whole series, I would never say names, um, but this particular facility has some diamonds in the rough. They were people that I'm still cool with to this day. Some people are like family. I have them in my phone. They come visit her at her new place. They come visit her at my house. Like, is the relationships that I built in those 3 months, some of them were great, but some of them, if they was on fire, I wouldn't have passed them a cup of water. I would have sipped my water, because it was some of it was kind of stressful, frustrating, and it wasn't necessary. Like, some people there, you can tell they were just there for a check, which is unfortunate, but that's any job. You can always tell when it's someone just for a paycheck. Um, in the time that she was there, 2 days in a row, she was sitting in her own feces. I just so happened to pop up earlier because I had a set time that I would come there, for the most part. And then every now and then I would pop up. And I popped up this particular day at like 11 o'clock. She was in her feces all the way on her legs, everything. And then, so I was vivid. I cleaned her up myself, filed my grievance. The next day, I popped up a little bit later, just slightly. So 11 was the first day, and maybe 11:45 was the second day. She was in her waist again. Right. So I pretty much lost it at that point. I did file a grievance, but I lost it. Like, I was not professional anymore. I was not my best self. God would not have been pleased how I acted that particular day. But you have to imagine someone that you love is sitting in their feces, like it's on their body, and they're just sitting in a wheelchair with it on them, and it's on their pants leg, and etc. And this person can't walk to the toilet. This person can't do anything. And come to find out, the root cause of all of this, a nurse ended up giving her Miralax, a stool softener, and something else. Wait, what? Why are we giving a cocktail to somebody that can't walk? Those type of things. So you have to make sure you can pop up. The places that you pick, you have to make sure somebody can be present, because all type of foolishness goes on if you're not present, right? I had filed so many grievances at this place that it finally got to the time where they just stopped playing with me. They just stopped playing with me, and I'm sure they was happy to see us go after 3 months. Uh, so make sure you look into the staff ratio. Make sure you always look into that. How many patients per care staff, right? Ideally, it should be 5 to 6 patients to one nurse, but that's just not always realistic, right? For the most part, there is no federal mandate saying how many patients to nurses it should be, right? So these facilities sometimes just pile people in because the goal is to fill up the beds. If you think about it, if you're paying 3,700 a month, $4,000 a month, they're trying to fill up these beds, and they got 60 beds in there. They don't really care about the staff. They care about the people. They want to make sure they pass inspections, but the goal is to fill it up, right? It's kind of like an airplane. So, unfortunately, that's what it is. And 18 to 1, when I said that the nurse, she steered me from that place, that was kind of crazy. But I was looking at the anesthetics. Oh, this place is beautiful. I seen the reviews. Oh, this is a nice place. But 18 to 1, my mother couldn't walk. So, the likelihood of her sitting in her waist was pretty high because it's 18 patients to one nurse. Or what? So that would be broken down for CNA, is normally like half of that. So that'd be 9 to 1. 9 CNAs can't really bathe all those people, because a shower, being though my mom's home with me now, The shower process takes about 30 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes, because you have to load them on the shower chair. You got to help them pivot into the wheelchair. You got to dry their body off. So it's a whole bunch of steps. So the likelihood of her getting showers, those was an issue, because they have to sign off in a book, and they would just say refuse. And I was like, my mom can't talk, so how can she refuse? So because I was present, I knew what was going on, and they couldn't play them games with me. But it's easier to say, oh, they refuse because they can't force you to take a shower. But at that time, she couldn't even talk. So how did she refuse? How did she tell you no? Right. So it's very scary. Yes, Kentra, it was so scary in that moment, but you have to be present, because if not, they would just kind of like sweep your loved one under the rug. Okay, and some places on my tour, I experienced this. I experienced they wouldn't allow you to talk to patients. They would limit your conversation with staff. They would close doors to rooms as you walk the tour. All the staff will repeat the same robotic responses, and they would smile. So those were all flags. But at the time, I was just like, well, maybe they don't want me. Maybe it's HIPAA. I don't know. I just took it. I kept writing it off. And I had went on several tours prior to her having to transition from the hospital to rehab. But it was just like, wait a minute. Like, why I can't talk to anybody? But luckily that nurse told me, hey, you don't want that person to go there. I left there. It was 1801. A lot of people were sitting in their waist. And I was like, wait, what? I paid a deposit. Yeah, you don't want to do that. So this is a place you should go to. I know the director. He's really good, this and that. And I was like, okay. So that's how I pivoted and put her where she ended up. Um, a place that I had went to, I walked inside, it smelled straight like feces. I'm talking about straight, like as soon as you went through the lobby, it just hit you. And the tour guide, the sales director, was like, please excuse the smell. Someone had an accident. And my statement was, it's more than one person that had an accident, because I'm a mom. And when your kid has an accident, you smell it just in a local area. It don't be throughout the whole house. So that's more than one person. So and when I got there, that was a red flag, because the smell was just so strong. And it was just like, okay, let me just go through the tour. Maybe more than one person had an accident. Let me finish the tour. As I was walking the tour, it was a person eating the stuffing inside of a tablecloth. I said, hey, she's eating a tablecloth. Oh, yeah, she does it. She eats it and throws it out. Wait, what? Okay, let's keep walking through the tour, because maybe this is just an isolated incident. And then when I got to the room that they showed me, I'm like, where's your model? Oh, we don't have a model. The room they showed me had a ripped off closet door and blood on the floor. This is going to be my mom's room? Oh, yeah, we're going to clean it up, though. But we just had to show you something. Yeah, let's go ahead and end the tour. So you have to do these tours. You have to see the inside. Don't just look at the model room, because some facilities, like that 1801 facility, had a beautiful model room. But in reality, it was not enough staff. And, staff shortage is all across the United States. But still, you have to make sure you pay attention to that, because you're trusting that they're going to take care of your loved one the best way possible. And so I ended that tour early. I left. It wasn't for me. It was too many red flags at one go. Understand that the tour is like a timeshare presentation. If you've ever been to a timeshare, that's what the tours are. They are trying to sell you. They are trying to get you to sign on the dotted line, and they have a quota to meet, right? They have to fill those beds. So keep that in mind when you're taking these tours. Make sure you ask questions, take notes. If it's too good to be true, it might be that may be so. It may be too good to be true. So keep that in mind. And make sure you take an unscheduled tour, right? You taking an unscheduled tour will allow you the opportunity to see something different than what they wanted you to see. Because a scheduled tour, they're going to show you all the beautiful stuff, all the anesthetics, all the niceness. They're going to have the perfect staff there. Everybody's going to be smiling. It's going to be a whole Stepford wife situation. But when you do a pop-up tour, can I see it right now? Oh, wait, hold on. Let's just go through. It's fine. You're going to see some things that you wasn't supposed to see on that first tour, right? So make sure you definitely do that. So whatever place you do choose, you have to have a place that's close enough to you or someone in your family to be able to pop up. Because unfortunately, like I said before, when there is no one there showing up consistently, the staff to visit that patient, the staff sometimes put that patient by the wayside, and they don't offer adequate care. Not everyone, but sometimes that is the case. And you have to be your person's biggest advocate. You have to be the voice for them. You have to make sure that they get the type of treatment that you would want, and you have to reiterate to the staff, treat my mother, my father, my loved one like you would treat the person that you love the most. You have to have that relatable experience, because sometimes they won't do that. Okay. um, do whatever you need to do to make sure your parent or your loved one has adequate care. I got to a place where I was putting bright color signs with Sharpie markers all around the room, because when in the beginning she couldn't drink from straws. She would aspirate, meaning the fluid that she was drinking would go into the lungs. She could get pneumonia or she could pass away. And I had caught nurses giving her medicine with straws. I had straws in the room. I had straws in cups. And even though I was filing grievances, it still was happening. So I put the signs up all over the room, above her bed, across from the TV, on the mirror of the bathroom, on the door when you first walk in. It was bright, hot pink paper, neon green, orange, whatever. Because I'm not going to allow something to happen to my mother because you didn't read the chart, right? So ask questions on why they didn't take a shower. Ask questions on why the sheets weren't changed. Notice something about the sheet. So me, I would always make something about the sheet, like if it was tucked it a certain way, or um, put a little tiny mark on the sheet. Why does Mark still here? That means these are the same sheets. Stuff like that, right? Just making sure you know and you pay attention to how your loved one is being treated. And even though the signs were up for a little bit of time, we still had issues with straws. I filed enough grievances. They finally stopped, because I'm like, we gonna go down to listen. Y'all don't want me to go to the medical board on this. Like we could go all the way toe to toe. I have nothing but time today, so it finally stopped. But being the advocate for her helped a lot. Make sure you build relationships with the nursing staff or healthcare workers way before a crisis. So find you some nurses, find you some friends that can kind of help you and navigate you through this process. Make sure you do tours, do off schedule tours. And when you see things, make sure you see things and pay attention to the things that you see. Don't just write it off. Don't just push it to the side of a grain of salt. Make sure you fully understand that it could be something wrong. Now, that is a good question. No, you cannot have certain states. In Georgia, we're not allowed. You cannot have hidden cameras, right? So, if you have a hidden camera and they find out about a hidden camera, you can actually get the person kicked out. You can get sued, all kinds of things. So, definitely look into your state to find out if you're allowed to have hidden cameras. In Georgia, you're not allowed to have hidden cameras in the room. Even though we had a case where a man, one of the workers, beat a 90-year-old woman here in Georgia. It was very unfortunate. But the loved one had a teddy bear camera, and that's how they saw him beating this 90-year-old woman. It was so sad. He ended up going to jail, but no, some states don't allow that, right? Because at the end of the day, this is big business, and they will be getting sued all the time because that's proof, that's evidence. And they don't want you to be, they don't want a recording. And that's why the popping up, and you may not have the time to pop up, but maybe a younger sibling or a niece, a nephew, someone that has a little bit more flexibility time, I would encourage that they pop up, because they have to see that you care about this patient, or they won't care. And it's very unfortunate, but that's how it is. My kid and myself would be there all the time, and it would be to the point where my kid would visit other patients because their loved ones wouldn't come see them. And we spent Thanksgiving there, which was so interesting because that was the first Thanksgiving where my mom was in a facility. And it was so many people that wasn't there for their loved ones. And I get it. Everybody doesn't have the flexibility. Some people just place their loved ones in there. You don't know the situation on to why they didn't come there and be an advocate for their loved one. But when they don't, unfortunately, the call light is sit on a long time. The person may not get bathed. The person may be the last to eat. Um, I tried to make sure that I popped up twice actually in the process. So I would pop up around lunchtime And if I did make it for lunch because I had a party favor business, I will also make sure dinner, because then I want to make sure she ate dinner, or pop up around a shower time because I want to know that she took a shower, because they had shower days. This side of the hall has these set days. The other side of the hall had another set days. If I didn't see you a shower, and when they shower, they change the sheets. If the showers and the sheets weren't changed, we're doing a grievance the next day. Like, I had nothing but time. They were sick of me. They were sick of me. So make sure that you are the advocate for your loved one, because sometimes they will drop the ball on your loved one, and it's so unfortunate. And so if you can't have the flexibility to go to the hospital and be at the facility, make sure you have someone in your village that can. They just pop up random times. Make sure that person's getting fed. Make sure that person is getting to go to the restroom. It was an incident where my mom was sitting in her urine. So I popped up and I'm like, why her bed wet? What is, wait a minute, hold the phone. That means nobody came to check on her, because before, even though she wore a depend, she never would go on herself. She would hold it. So if she got to the place where she actually urinated on herself, that means nobody came and took her in the morning. That means no, when she woke up, no one took her to the restroom. And the nursing staff was like, oh, this just happened at 11. That means nobody took her this morning. That's what that means. Because she still got on her pajamas. It's 11 o'clock and she still got on her pajamas. So I was a whole fool up in there. I know they was happy to see me. I know they was happy to see me go, because I was just like, I need some answers. And it got to the point that me and the head nurse, the director of nursing, we was tight. She would see me in the parking lot. Giovanni, we don't have no problems today. Okay, because I don't have no problem filing no grievance. Like, me and grievances is besties. So just really make sure you're being the advocate for your loved one. Make sure you're being the person for your loved one. And before you sign on the dotted line, see everything you needed to see, because most of the time they have contracts, or they have a month to month. You have to pay a lot of money up front. You can't get your money back. And make sure also, when you're doing the payment, put it on a card that only for that. When that 18-1 ratio place that I had signed up for, because it was so beautiful, the reason I changed courses, or was able to speak up about the course, this particular place hit my card, which was my bank account, 3 times, 4 days before Christmas. Yeah. We didn't even move in yet. 4 days before Christmas, they hit my card. At the time, they told me it was an $1,800 deposit. I was like, okay, cool. It was a sale, a Christmas sale, New Year's sale, and it was $1,800 deposit. And I said, no problem. And they hit it 3 times. You talk about crying. Never cried so hard. It was 4 days before Christmas, and the person that did it went on vacation. So not only did you hit my card the many times, you went on vacation. I couldn't contact anybody to help me. And I was at the nursing desk and I was talking. I was like, this just happened. I'm so hurt. Da, da, da. And the nurse was like, oh, you don't want to go there. It's 18-1. So that blessing, it ended up being a blessing in disguise, because I wouldn't have never thought anything of it if they didn't hit my card that many times. And I never would have spoke up to the nurse saying I was having an issue. So yeah, that worked out. And she ended up going to a place that had 6-1 ratio. And it was an amazing experience. We had a couple of hiccups, but for the most part, it was pretty decent. No place will be perfect. So you got to get that out your mind. Even though you're paying $4,500 a month, no place will be perfect at all. Even for $4,500, you would think for $4,500 it should be amazing. It may not be so. So just keep that in mind, and just make sure you really investigate, and investigate way before you have a health crisis. So this is the conclusion of my getting to what you need to know series. Need to know series. And so next week episode is about traveling as a caregiver, and what that looks like, and how to navigate that part of it. I thank you so much for giving me 30 minutes of your time, 30 minutes or less, on your Friday. If you cannot catch me on Fridays at 9 Eastern Standard Time, make sure you catch the replay anytime. Like, share, and subscribe. It's all free. My goal is to get this to many people as possible, so they can get ready and not have to do the heavy lifting that I had to do. I want you to have an amazing night. All those that were affected by the hurricane that came through last night and this morning here in the Georgia area, we had some issues, but for the most part, we're all safe. Power lines, a few power lines down, trees down, but all those that are affected, my prayers and hugs and love go on to you. And until next week, I will be seeing you signing off, your favorite bestie, and make sure you get in the know. Bye.